my music on one station.
Giving you a buffet of music, news, and entertainment. We're In Touch Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Nothing. All right. Good morning. Good morning. It's indeed a good morning. As always, it's exciting to be here with you. And again, my name is Clinton Parrish. I am the host of Straight Up the Middle. I'm excited because we got the full team in. I got my main man, Professor, soon to be Doc, Professor Tony Seabrook. Good morning, Professor. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
I appreciate you getting up, coming in, and joining with us in today's reindeer games. As always, it's exciting to be here.
The reindeer game?
Yeah, the reindeer game. Everybody get invited in, man. And I want to thank Ed, Lorraine, and Kendra for sitting in last week. I did a phenomenal job. And, you know, it's good to listen, and it's hard to listen because I always feel like after the show's over, I'm going to get a call from Daryl saying, listen, we're going to go in a different – we decided to go in a different direction. But they did a wonderful job last week, as always. And, you know, every day, every week is just so full of so many things. You know, for example, I think we just mentioned that last week we had the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington, ML King's I Have a Dream speech. You know, it's so interesting to me how he said so much with so little, and how profound that event changed the way America looked at the process of dealing with African Americans. I thought they realized, listen, you know, we really have put all these barriers in place of preventing these people from accessing the things that America offers, and I think that propelled us into a period of trying to take some of those barriers down, and that's why I think people are so worried right now that you feel like some of that stuff is bubbling back up. So just a full week last week. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Nola Allen. She's a professor at USF over in the African American Studies Department. It was like required, you know, register. When you went to USF back in the 80s, you were going to take an African American Studies class. And if you got Dr. Nola Allen, she always say this kind of weird quote. And I think if I can get it right, she would say, if you accept what I'm telling you is your reality, then I need you to live it, which I thought just quite interesting. Yeah. You know, if you accept this, what I'm telling you as your reality, this is the reality, I need you to live it, meaning you need to accept the responsibility you have to change the things or impact the things that you don't think are right, and to contribute back to society that which you have to offer, whatever gifts and talents you have. I just remember sitting in front of her class, and I was stunned at the end of the semester, Professor, when I got an I in her class. I didn't even know what it was. You know, here I've been, you know, I'm Clint Paris, you know what I mean? I didn't even know what an I is. I had to go see somebody to find out what an I is. She gave your boy an I, you know, an I.
So why?
And, I was out of control, man. I was out of control, man. I was out of control. Gave me an interesting paper assignment to write. I had to write a paper and take it to Glenn Gilkin, and she removed the I, man. I ended up getting a B in the class. But I'm like, I got an I?
You know who I am?
Yeah, that's exactly. You know. So anyway, so we're excited to be here this morning. Got the professor here. It's just so much to talk to. You know, this show mainly focuses on politics at a national level, which we know trickles down and reflects our local politics. And I am open-minded, Professor. I know we've gone over a bunch of topics this morning to kind of hit on. One of them is what's going on with McCarthy. I mean, what is he going to do to show I'm in charge? I've got control of the situation. What are your thoughts?
Well, McCarthy, he's showing us what the MAGA, and I'm going to use that term with the MAGA voter, was concerned about. And he's actually just his stance on, well, I think the American people need to hear the voice, or however he framed it, instead of him announcing just like Nancy Pelosi did, and that's my issue with. To me, they're just beta males. They're weak. They're spineless, and I understand in one sense they don't want to do everything that the Democrats did, and it looked like tick for tat. But still, it's like we need to do something. There's enough evidence there, and I just don't think he's taking bold steps. And I think it's just gonna. If he does not impeach, if the vote does not go, and they vote along party lines, it'll happen. But I think there are a number of Republicans that already stated that they're not for an impeachment. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's his way of not taking the black eye, and by just putting it to a vote and saying, hey, there's some other people who don't feel there's enough for impeachment inquiry.
Now, and the idea becomes for impeachment is, what would the impeachment be of what Biden has done as president that would warrant an impeachment, though?
Well, I don't know if it doesn't have to. Well,
that's the door y'all heard shut. that was the old door shutting, as the trap gets set.
Well, it just makes me think. I don't know that he's done anything
exactly,
except lying.
I mean, you're gonna impeach a politician for lying?
Well, yeah, exactly.
No. I don't know.
The only thing I can come up with is him lying about what he had said prior to the 2020 election.
Right.
But still, what he's done as VP is still impeachable, right?
So if you take the idea that impeachment says you've done something so egregious that you should be removed from office,
right?
I just don't know that it's there. And I think, dating back to the impeachment of Bill Clinton, impeachment has been watered down.
Well, you don't have to go back to Bill Clinton. You go back to Donald Trump.
No, I want to go to Bill. Because I think it started with Bill.
Okay.
When Bill was impeached about an affair, because it's really what the impeachment was about, Monica Lewinsky and all that stuff, it watered it down.
Was what they used.
That's what they did. He was impeached for lying under oath, federal, and all that kind of. I mean, again, a politician for lying. And since then, it's become watered down. And I think if they impeach Joe Biden, I mean, it becomes a complete nothing burger, and it affirms that the Republicans are not ready to govern. Because the time they would spend impeaching, they could be governing.
Well, we didn't have that same mindset when the Democrats chose to impeach Trump twice.
Yeah, we did. We did.
I didn't hear that mindset. I may have heard it from you. I didn't hear that in any other mainstream media saying that we're not ready to govern because these are frivolous impeachment charges.
Well, we weren't asking to govern, though. We weren't asking.
Oh, see, all these, We
were we weren't saying, and I'm just saying what it reflects is there's that no other agenda really for the country. The only agenda I hear is get rid of Joe Biden, and I don't know if that's really that different than get rid of Trump. But I just don't hear nothing. So for me, and the reason I don't think he can impeach is McCarthy is the weakest speaker ever. He came in weak. He's been weak in there, and so he's done nothing to strengthen his hand since he's been in there. And I don't know what these elections coming up, where he's showing he's going to become stronger. He may have even trouble remaining a speaker, I think.
Well, that may be true. Now, again, if he grows a set and does what Nancy Pelosi would have done in that same position, then he may at least, gain some of the respect of some of the supporters. But here's the thing. You have McCarthy, weak, and then you have McConnell, that's weak in a physical sense,
Yes, yeah.
So the leadership in the Republican Party in both chambers it's just left.
Now, here's what I say, though, is they're just representative figures of weakness in the Republican Party. They're just representatives. And you the fact that the Republicans have not realized when you put somebody in position, you need to strengthen them up. And see, because the Republicans brought in so many weirdos with their own agendas, they've not been willing to say, hey, look, we need to strengthen. I'm going to tell you something. You think about the squad and the whole...
A bunch of weirdos.
Right. You just went the whole left side of the Democratic Party. you don't feel their force anymore. You don't feel.
Well, that's
you don't
because
feel
of the old heads, the ones that we're talking about, those ones that are
strengthened up,
physically weak.
and they've gotten people lined up where they need to be behind Akeem Jeffries. So if you think about it, we didn't get, and in fact, if you go back and think about it, Nancy came out and smacked the AOC down a couple times when she got in the box.
But that's what I'm saying. If McCarthy had half the backbone, and it's not so much that she was, she used the power, and she's very experienced. She's been in a while. But McCarthy comes in and just soft-spoken. There's nothing that even garners respect. And I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Again, I am a registered independent now, and after the whole thing,
man, but you're Republican, man. No, everybody know you. He's like in the SNL, Republican or not. He is a Republican, so he just claimed you're not.
Still,
like Tiger Woods said, he's not black anymore. Yeah, okay. We're gonna treat you like a Republican.
And so my upper hand on the Republican Party is I'm a registered independent.
Yeah.
So now you have to earn my vote. You're no longer going to get my vote.
Right.
I will stay home if I vote for a Democrat, but I just won't vote for.
But that is like voting for a Democrat, though. Not voting for a Republican is less. But just digging into why McCarthy's weak, though. And I want to say that I love the Democrats. The Democrats play politics better than Republicans and how they manage themselves. And one of the things they've done is that squad. Remember the foursome that came in. They had constant drama. They've been wrangled in line. Mm-hmm. You had Bernie Sanders used to go off the reservation all the time. And then you had Donald Trump called Pocahontas.
Exactly.
Again, she was all Liz. Was it Elizabeth Warren?
Yep, Elizabeth Warren. Exactly.
You don't hear that left side barking like they used to. Here's why. Everybody knows we need Akeem Jeffries to be the strongest possible minority leader as he can, and you need to be in line behind him. And that's what's happened. That is the difference in the two. And so when McCarthy comes out, his first fear is AOC has already called her own press conference, and they're going to have their own, talking points. And then they're going to say something, weird about aliens or Bigfoot and mix that in with, liberty. And there we go. There we go. So,
well, on this side of the aisle, you have the same thing. You have Matt Gaetz, who's been marginalized, who's been in a lot of ways. He's been quieted.
But we help with that.
Well,
we threatened to put him in jail. That'll calm you down.
You also have MTG, Marjorie, whatever, Taylor Greene.
Right.
She's also been.
But you can't stop her. She was out saying crazy stuff the other day. Mm-hmm. About in fact, she was talking about impeach. She was saying basically, if McCarthy does not impeach, she's not going to vote for the next appropriations bill. Well, we don't care because we'll get some Democrats to vote for it. We'll cut a deal. We'll work. We can work with McCarthy. He's a nice guy. We'll work with him again. But I just don't see impeachment going forward, and here's why. As we move into the election, there are too many Republicans in what we call swing districts, and they can't afford to piss off their Democratic voters that might otherwise say, I'm not happy with Joe Biden. I'm not happy with the Democrats. I'll vote for you. But if you do this crazy impeachment without some clear thing, because the impeachment with Donald Trump was a little murky. I heard the phone call, and everybody could hear his voice, and it felt like something was being done weird, but I didn't think it was weird enough to get rid of a president. I didn't think
But they went for it.
They went for it. They should.
It's good to kind of, salt it down that way now, years later, but what do we know about that phone call? Trump was basically right about the issues he had with it. Look into what Biden did.
Why, though?
Why? Because look what's come out.
But so what? So what?
What do you mean? So what? They have records. They have all
records
these
of what?
They have records of the Biden family not being given money, but being money being awarded to them in shell companies when the Biden family has no real business.
And
so, what was the big deal about Trump and even his son-in-law? Trump has a brand. Trump has a business.
Nothing has happened to his son-in-law.
But what I'm saying is, if anyone
he's not been impeached over that. See, here's what I'm trying to figure. Here's what I tried to tell my friends. If you even prove the allegations are true, they don't matter.
Why do they not matter?
Because they don't matter.
As a vice president,
they don't affect interest rates. They don't affect our. They don't affect anything about America.
We're not going for
now,
that.
Here's what they would affect: whether or not we have the kind of value system in America that we say we do.
Well, we don't have that anyway.
And that's why they don't matter.
We don't have that anyway.
And that's why to say Joe Biden made money off his position, you're not telling me anything.
As a vice president.
You're not saying anything.
And he lied about it.
And
they impeached a sitting president because he wanted to look into that. That's enough to impeach him.
By now, if you really had some real evidence that Joe Biden, not the Biden family, who's in the Biden family? You got Hunter. I think there's a brother somewhere, uncle or something. Who else we got?
I think it's the brother. It's
just
the brother, Hunter,
and then Hunter. I mean, come on, like everybody's got that relative that's gonna show up.
Yeah, we're not going for that, counselor.
Exactly. So my thoughts are, if you even prove the allegations are true, they don't matter.
But that's where you run.
Who do they matter to then?
What do you mean? Who do they matter? They matter to the same people that on the Democrat side when they wanted Trump out. It mattered to them. And
there
it matters
is nothing
to Republican voters
tell,
that you have the
there's
cojones.
almost nothing you're going to tell Democrats about Biden that's going to change their vote about that situation.
Right.
He made money off his position.
Right.
That's
the same thing with Trump. That's why Trump left with his voters. It's the same thing. We have the same thing. The only thing we don't have is an impeachment. We need an impeachment.
But you don't have Joe Biden, as president right now. Engaged. These are all things that you're alleging happened before he became president.
He was VP.
So you should have impeached. So you can't impeach him for president for stuff he did as vice president.
Why can't you?
I don't know. I just didn't see that. Didn't seem like the way to do it.
I don't think we'd be having this conversation if you couldn't.
No. We can have the conversations whether they do it or not, and that may be why McCarthy realizes it's a nothing burger.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna use this.
I didn't even say in holiday in, so I'm not a constitutional lawyer.
And the most physical way I can say this is when you finish and you prove, he did take some money. Democrats are going to say, and we're still voting for him because we don't like the orange guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's a avenue there. But end of the day, I just think impeachment is a bad trap. It's a distraction. It just feeds a segment of the population. Because listen, I am not a fan of Donald Trump going to jail. I'm not even a fan of these prosecutions of him. I do want the other people prosecuted that went along. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. But he is incorrigible. Now you mentioned him in relationship to Mitch McConnell, and slightly. And the issue with McConnell, of course, is what has happened twice. He's had these moments where it looks like neurologically his wiring is not. He's hitting a reboot.
He's old.
Yeah, he's hitting a reboot. Right. Your thoughts about what should we be doing with Mitch McConnell?
Yeah, I don't know what the procedure is, but yeah, he should step down, and if not, there should be some, just like it was what was they were trying to get Trump on for being mentally out there, something 25, whatever they were going to pull on Trump. They need to, and on Biden, they talked about it with Biden as well. I don't know if that applies in the Senate, but there should be some procedure.
Why do you think it is? Why do you think it is McConnell himself is not saying, "Hey, enough"?
Oh yeah.
But why is he not doing it?
Because he does not want to give up the power. But that's inherent in having on both sides. He does not want to see that. I don't think it's a matter if he can do it or not. He does not want to give up that position. Power.
I think behind him there's entire Republican pyramid power structure of donors, supporters, and all that kind of stuff that's vested in his position. And I think that is what needs to be resolved first before he leaves. Because if not, you turn all these wannabe political influencers loose, wielding money and power. And out of nowhere, you may get who knows how many more Marjorie Taylor Greenes come out the woodworks. So I think the power structure in the GOP is like, look, before we get rid of him, we've got to be clear, well, who's going to replace him? Who's up to the task of this?
You have some ranking senators in there. You got Cruz in there.
You would trust Ted Cruz.
I would trust Ted Cruz.
You've got to be
Mitch
such.
McConnell.
You listen. He played his position so well with Donald Trump to get the country what the GOP wanted. They wanted those conservative justices. Right. He played along with Donald Trump as much as he had to.
Exactly.
And we got that. But then what would you say? So that we need term limits at the
most definitely.
Now explain to me why you say term limits.
Because of this situation, and I don't think it needs to be. I think there needs to be an age limit because one could
age limit or term limit.
I think there needs to be something that would check the other. So let's say someone won office for the first time at the age of 68, 69. And after, 4 years? So after 2, they would put them at 8 plus 69 at 77. Yeah, I think at some point, let's say 80 would be the cutoff.
So an age limit of 80. I'm more inclined to go with an age limit than a term limit. An age limit. I would say you're probably 80, maybe 85. Mm-hmm. I think 80 is the number. Now, here's what's going to happen. America's capitalist. We're about money, and it's proven. Most politicians, they come into office, they modestly, may have a little bit of flow, and then they get real rich while they're in office. One is their access to information. They just have so much more information at their disposal and opportunity. I worked for a guy one time that said, listen, I made all my money because people came to me and said, hey, you want to invest in this? It's a no-brainer. We're starting a bank. I'm starting an insurance company. We're building a building. We just need your name associated with what we're doing. That's going to give us more leverage, A, B, and C, and not just in your area, but outside your area. So I'm building a building in Colorado, and on my team, when I go make my presentation, I say, and by the way, I've got Congressman so and so from Alabama who's helping us make sure this thing gets what it needs to get. That's how these guys make so much money. I'm not saying it's just America. And I think that's the piece that I think you'll find. People come into office, they'll be pressed to make more money than they would have made otherwise, right, and before they get out of office. And
that's really the story. I mean, that's the story with Nancy Pelosi. Her husband was already, what was he, an investor or something? He already had money, but it was their access.
Wasn't that kind of money, though. Right. No, you see with the Supreme Court justices.
Oh, yeah.
They make all kind of money once they're in office in these kind of passive ways, when they access to stuff. And I don't want to go down that, but I don't know about that. I think that the age limit piece is probably going to have to be a reality at about 80, somewhere in there. The other thing, though, is but while all this is going on, it's like the Republicans have forgotten about Joe Biden.
No, we haven't.
And governing, because he's rolling around the country rolling out that infrastructure bill, rolling out projects, passing out money,
Joe Biden
handing out gifts, doing favors.
He doesn't know where he is half the time. He's just doing what
he's signing checks.
The progressive arm is telling him to do.
But he's still getting checks signed, and money's going to the community.
Because they're saying, hey, you need to sign right here. Anytime you have to, when your primary question is at any conference, where do I go? And you're looking confused, that's his state of existence. This guy is just so far removed from what he needs. He's a shell of himself.
I've not seen him not finish a sentence yet, though.
You haven't seen him finish what? You have not seen him do that.
He's not stopped and just stared out and had people on his left and right saying, we're going to take a minute.
Well, this is true. He's just falling asleep, and he just tucks his head into his hand, and he starts mumbling.
I think,
maybe that's
if he's as incompetent as he is, it just makes the Republicans look even that less competent that they've not been able to outmaneuver him.
Well, going back to your argument when Trump came into office and you and DJ CEO were just beating that drum about it's the office of the presidency and it's bigger than one person and blah, blah, blah. That's why they couldn't defeat Trump, because of the office of the presidency, no matter what they had. And, yeah, they impeached him for just the weirdest things, but they could not ultimately defeat him. And Tucker Carlson said something that's,
you're going to quote Tucker Carlson?
That's pretty.
Now, why would you? I'm just saying, but give me, on what basis do we quote Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson said something that I think no truer words have been spoken about Trump. They couldn't defeat him with either impeachment. They cannot, to this point, the indictments have not stopped him, and they're on number 4, right?
Yeah.
The only thing left is assassination.
Well, no. They don't have to. Trump, you need Trump alive. He has been a gift to Democrats, and I'm disappointed we've not used him more. I mean, he's a gift to Democrats because he's so polarizing and unliked. Yeah. We dislike him because he does not represent any of the things America.
So why is he leading in the polls?
Because you have a bunch of Republicans, I think.
But you say he's not well liked.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you why he's leading though. He's exposing something really ugly about America. That America is not as committed to what America says it is, and that the world has been accusing us of for years and years and years. The world has always accused America
because they're accusing us, or because it's true.
Well, let me get to what I'm saying though. See, the world has always accused America of not being committed to democracy. You don't really believe in the one person, one vote. You know, you don't know it. You didn't let half your people vote for most of your existence. Women, minorities, and you put rules in place. In fact, you use violence to stop those people from voting. But you come to our country saying we should let people dip their finger in ink and come and vote. And then you all will tell us what's fair. But we know you're not committed to democracy in your own country. You're not committed to economic equity because guess what? You're in other countries exploiting resources and relationships for your own benefit and not really contributing back to the communities which you're impacting. And now we want to come along now and say, hey, well, why these people like Trump? Because Trump has come out and shown, look, it's okay in America to be a liar, to be a cheat, to have no values, to do whatever you want to do, break all the rules, make them as you go, so long as, hey, everybody makes a little bit of money. All right, everybody make a little bit of money, just not a lot of money. Everybody make a little bit of money. Hey, then you can do the rule, the Constitution. What do you say? Well, they told me the issue with the Constitution. Well, get rid of the Constitution. Just suspend that.
Well, your lead-in was other countries have always accused us of being liars.
Yeah.
So what does it matter that Trump's a liar?
That doesn't have to be true that we're accused of it. I'm actually answering your question as to why does Donald Trump lead the polls? Because so many Americans agree with that hypocrisy.
Okay, so let me go.
I would tell this skit. I may have said this before, and for y'all that was sitting in front of the mic in front of your radio or watching online, thinking, okay, we'll get to the bottom of the hour and Clint will give us a break. Nah, we're going straight through, and then we'll be ending the show a little bit earlier. So no breaks today. We're going to keep going. I tell this story about how at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, there were a couple of slaves standing around. I'm just gonna consider names. Well, Sambo, Leroy, and let's say Blackie. All right, they're standing against the wall. You know what they are? They're the personal slaves of the actual people that signed the declaration. You know what they're standing there saying? They're listening to the discussion, and here's how the discussion goes. They're listening to the initial people that signed the Declaration of Independence talk about liberty, freedom, equality, justice for all. And they're over there giving each other hot. They're dapping each other up a little bit. You know what they're saying? Oh, this is going to be good for us. It's going to be tight, man. Yeah, they talking about freedom for everybody, liberty for everybody. Oh, man, they talking about, yeah, everybody's going to be, equal. God created inalienable rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Dude, when this thing gets signed, it's on and popping for us. Well, when they finish signing, they realize it's a Sambo, you go get my horse. And they realize there was never an intention for this to apply. We were just writing this up. It's kind of like a lot of people in their wedding vows. We just said that stuff. We didn't really intend to live by that stuff. Obey and death do us part, and some other harsh words in there they use that people can't measure up to. So this is nothing new. I'm just saying that Republican Party is living it out now. They're living out the hypocrisy.
Why the Republican Party and not the Democrat Party?
Because of Donald Trump. Because of Donald Trump. We're still saying the things we're supposed to say. We're still at least, we're pretending that we believe in the ideals of America.
And although
Republicans
that people
saying no.
know that Democrats are lying, they don't even believe a woman is a woman. They believe everything is even Steven. Now, you don't believe in those traditional values, and we all know
lie to me, so I don't have to deal with the lie to me. Tell me I'm the greatest, I'm the smartest, so I don't have to realize how dumb and stupid I am.
So you really don't believe, the Democrats don't believe in that, and we all know that. So to your point about the Donald Trump and why? So why is he up in the black vote?
You know why?
Why?
the same reason Clarence Thomas exists. Man, you got to listen to some of those speeches coming out of Africa. The brainwashing and PTSD.
So Donald Trump is up in the black vote. Okay. Biden is down.
Yeah.
Biden is down. I think Biden's
and Biden
down
probably
30%.
should. The Democrats should be down. The Democrats should have by now lost the confidence of black people.
Well, they have. That's why they've been constantly trying to replace them with that immigration vote. Yeah. And you guys can now vote now in certain states. That's what
they should have.
They
should have, because they've not really delivered on what they promised they would and try. And I don't think there was ever earnest effort. That's the hypocrisy we're getting back to. Mm-hmm. You know, on both sides.
It's downplayed when it comes to Democrat, but when you have a polarizing figure like Trump, he's the reason why. But
no. He's the reason why Republicans are where they are. That's what I mean. Now, the black vote on Democrat first, I don't know that any of these numbers coming out are legitimate. This is a talking point. I mean, I watch conservative media all day long. Mm-hmm. I'm talking. I wake up on conservative media. I watch news. I watch Newsmax. I watch Fox. I listen to conservative radio all day long. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how you get the talking point. This talking point, they want to believe this so bad because Tim Scott is a Republican. Black people now support Republicans. And I'm like, really?
I don't know that that's ever been true.
It isn't true. There was a time up until blacks were with the Republican Party up until Eleanor Roosevelt, made some inroads into black leadership in the community and said, look, if my husband, y'all get him in office, he'll desegregate, he'll break some of this down. And so that's when the switch started to happen from the Republican. But up until then, both the Democrats and the Republicans kept black people oppressed. Neither party did anything to advance the cause of those issues. But be that as it may, I don't know that there's this mad rush of black folks over to. But Trump did get more black votes than Mitt Romney and John McCain.
And that was in
2016, correct.
And if he's up 12%, let's say those stats aren't right.
Right.
But if he's up by 8%, if he needed to get X amount of votes.
That's an economic. I think that's an economic vote.
Okay.
I don't think that's anything policy real. I just think that's a reflection of some of the economic issues of Bidenomics, and I was drifting into that. I don't think people are buying Bidenomics.
Okay, Rasmussen. So you guys know I'm going to find this stat. So the Rasmussen.
I've never met the guy anyway. I've never heard him. I've never seen him speak
Voters
anywhere.
don't think Biden has made much difference for Black America. That's the one headline. That's in 2021.
But you could say that about Obama. You could just go president by president.
You certainly can say that. I
don't know if it's true, but you could say it. Now, emotionally did, but you could say that about every president.
And I don't know the date on this. I think this is July 2023 polling, and I can't see this.
Be that as it may.
Yeah, Biden's in 50s.
Right.
His support is 54%. That was his high in June of 2023. That was his high polling for blacks.
I don't know that he should be counting on blacks to come save his election.
He better not be counting on blacks.
Right, exactly. All right. Look, I got a couple more things. I got to get your opinion on before we get out of here. And look. So it looks like, and I know we didn't talk about this, but anyway, let's go one on Tim Scott. This brother sold his soul out to be part of the Republican Party, to be their figurehead for black progress and all's well with black folks and the opportunity in America.
But who is saying that? Democrats
Tim
are saying
Scott, no, he's saying it. He's saying it himself. He's saying racism doesn't exist because I exist. He's saying there's no oppression because I exist. I am evidence, and he did on The View or some other place. He's trying to talk about it.
The worst place to go.
Why are Republicans and GOP donors start to turn on him? And the rumblings are around. Hey man, when last time you been on a date? Like a woman. How do you come out? How do you ask a grown man? Can you explain why you're not married? Think about that. Why do you, a grown man? So they're asking him, but I'm trying to find out what's the strategy behind what would be the benefit right now. He's no threat to anybody.
Right.
Why are they turning on him?
Wither down the field, just wither it down.
He's got no votes.
Get him out of there. 2%
No,
can go to somebody else.
Look, you need him there. You want him there.
Why do we need him there?
To represent the diversity of the Republican Party.
No, we don't. We don't need him.
you open the door for the racist argument.
Because Democrats are not going to give Republicans any benefit of the doubt that they are out for black people. They're going out on a limb for
You
them.
got the same thing with Ramaswamy.
He's not going anywhere either.
But they're starting to poke at him and pick it. Now they found a 20-year-old speech he made. They want to run that out, where he talks about all kinds of crazy political thoughts and theories and whatnot.
Kind of like what they did on Barack Obama when he was coming to the
How about
rank.
he took free money to go to college when he's a billionaire? I mean, they're just poking at the man. I just don't understand how Republicans go tear each other down like this. I think it's a little bit early for that. You know, but the Tim Scott thing I thought was interesting.
As long as Trump's not doing it. That's just how the party works. As long as Trump's not doing it. Tim Scott, nice guy.
Non-factor.
Not a factor.
Do you think that DeSantis is still the biggest factor for Trump?
Yeah.
But they beat him down every chance they get.
Yep. Well, until if these indictments, and they're going to what? They're going to televise the Georgia one. And they're only doing that, hopefully that's going to somehow bring Trump down. I think it's just going to just add more.
We don't want Trump down.
Yeah.
We want Trump on that ballot.
That's what you guys say. But if Joe has a moment that he already has his flaws. If he has a Mitch McConnell moment to add to his falling asleep, into his confusion, into his mumblings, everyone knows that Joe's not calling any shots. If he has a Mitch McConnell moment, or if the Republicans can start to make any headway with what they say they have and these banking records, you guys don't want Trump on. You're saying that because you think it sounds good. Trump is showing you guys that you really can't beat me. If he gets the black vote, let's say he gets the black vote, he wins.
He's been beaten repeatedly.
With who? By who?
He lost to Joe Biden. He just lost to Joe Biden.
Nobody believes that, and that's why the indictments are going on. We still don't believe that.
It's like one of the Proud Boys on his way to jail.
I mean, because they actually did something wrong.
So what you're saying is that, you know, and that this is something around the world is America's just reflecting what we've always thought. America's truly not committed to democracy, because your comments, one of the things that you heard come out of Al Gore back in the day, he didn't agree with what happened. But he understood that if we lose our confidence in our democracy, then what do we have? You're going to get something else. You won't have this. And so in a very cavalier way, I think Republicans are feeding into this, tear it down. Hillary didn't like that fact that she think she lost to.
And she went on show after show saying that it was stolen. But she didn't tear
down the democracy.
She didn't have to, but she debunked it. She didn't accept it.
Right, but
Stacey Abrams didn't accept it.
Right, but they didn't tear down. We're going to tear this system down. Nobody believed in it. All that kind of stuff.
Because no one tried to tear them down. They went after Trump from day one.
And the thing with Trump, though, and we can if you want to. I know we've litigated this repeatedly on this show. Somebody should by now have a live picture with the moving Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Of all the shows in the woods, looking for Bigfoot. True. After that beef last year between the East Bigfoot hunters and the West Coast Bigfoot hunters over who had the legitimate Bigfoot claims, somebody should at least be able to hold up, here is a Bigfoot we found. Mm-hmm. But that's what no one's shown me that with this election. No one's shown me here.
You know what? Along with that same thing, maybe that's why they started talking about UFOs, because the Republicans might be on to something. Maybe that's why they started all of a sudden they're talking about UFOs.
You know what they did that right?
Yeah, to get the heat off of Joe Biden.
No, there's so many crazies walking around now. You literally have to give all of them something to do.
They did a government segment on that. They had all these shows and had some people.
You know, it's like when a relative come up with their kids. Y'all know they're special kids. And you just throw like something out into the yard that they can chase. You know, it's like it's not a real toy. But guess what? They don't know that that's not a toy.
But the corporate media is running that. It's just a red herring.
Well, as it stands now, you've got I think Joe Biden promoting the Bidenomics dynamic. The other thing I wanted to get is something I thought was quite interesting, and I want to touch on this because we're going to be closing out early. Is since I think 2009, we've had 8 coups in Africa. Pretty bloodless, too. where basically the army walks in, puts the president under house arrest, and they take over and they tell France go home, and they keep rolling through. We just had another one like we would have Niger and Burkina Faso. I could just go down the list of coups. Not of course Niger was the one that the big one, and now why is there no? That's not even on the radar right now in our public discussion whatsoever about these coups now. And here's why I bring this up. They are some of the largest and the fastest growing economies in the world with so many natural resources right across that Central West African region. Mm-hmm. But you don't hear any discussion about that. And as each one of these things rolls through, you see Russian flags.
I was about to say, Russia is
you got Russian flags and Chinese workers building bridges. Like, waving to the cameras, they're working on it. I mean, like, where is our now? Where our state of where our state affairs? People. I mean, what? Why is that not even on our radar right now?
Because it highlights the national tension, or I should say the foreign affairs with Russia and China. I mean, they are allied together, and the U.S. has an issue with both. China's just waiting to see how Russia's going to either bow out of this thing with Ukraine, lose gracefully, or however it goes. But they have been, and I don't know if it adds to the whole BRIC system, and I'm not very informed into this whole, alternate monetary system that they're trying to push. But I think it's all relative. And I think the United States does not want to have a foreign policy disaster bigger than what's already going on. And people, that's also an area where Republicans on a debate stage, on a national stage, can make some argument about what Joe Biden, how much money he's given Ukraine or to support this effort that Ukraine defeat Russia, or how he's trying to defeat Putin. But at the same time, he has enough going on with the Bidenomics. He has enough going on with inflation. The numbers aren't really that favorable for Biden. So I just think the foreign policy issue with his domestic issues with inflation and the whole Bidenomics, I didn't know why he even branded that.
Now, I get why the government doesn't come out and talk about it. I can't understand why the media, it's like the world.
Because it doesn't favor Biden.
But it's like the world is leaving France to face this by themselves. It's like the only person trying to, like Macron, is standing around going, is this it? This how this going to go? Nobody else wants to kind of come in on this? The European Union, nothing, crickets. United Nations, crickets. Nobody is saying anything about these falling democracies one after the other. And here's why I think it is.
Why is it?
Because the greatest and strongest democracy in the world itself has been weaker than the world stage as a democracy. And so we no longer can come forward and say, wait a minute, you don't get to rule over the people. The people have voted. There's an election. Like it or not, you stand on the election. But we can't say that now because half the country is saying, the election was rigged, which is what these people said. The election was rigged. That's nothing new. You go back elections have always been, there have been a lot of questions about elections.
Really?
But we always understood the system needs to be strong until now.
Translation. Elections have always been rigged, but we had to take one for the team. We can't make a big deal. Although these other nations know that we're hypocritical. They know that we lie. They know that we do the same thing. Now, since we actually are indicting a former president, we're just shown. Yeah.
No, but we're not indicting about we got a caller calling in? Bring him in. Bring the caller in.
Somebody didn't like that 81 day
man,
vote
whatever,
poke.
Man. Good morning, caller. Listen, you got 1 minute, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
Good morning, this is Carl.
Hey, man, Carl out there, man.
Hey,
you don't like us talking about Africa? or is your boy Joe Biden, man? You heard what the professor said about Biden, man. You need to defend Biden. You got to stand up for him.
Yeah, I got Biden, but, this impeachment is more so, it's just they're trying to throw red meat to their base. They got to feed them. His base is like rabid dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You got to feed them something.
Yeah.
And this, you should hear this chanting, impeach, Biden. But like the attorney said, what are you going to impeach him for?
Well, what he did as VP and lied about it. See, what the attorney didn't say was that it wasn't constitutional. He didn't say that it was. He didn't say it was, or he didn't say that it wasn't. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so I can't say either, but I believe it is.
Hey, Carl, I hate to do this to you, man. We on a different time schedule today. They got to get us out of here a little bit early. Appreciate you listening as always. Appreciate you calling in. Professor, I appreciate you getting up this morning, coming in and helping us out. Behind the boards, you got Bezel back there. I hope you all enjoyed it. I want to wish my man, one of my good friends, Carrick, a speedy recovery. He was down a little bit ill last week. So, Carrick, hope you listen this morning, my brother, and I wish you a speedy recovery. Everybody out there, thank you all for listening. And stay tuned in for Stay Woke, which is coming up right after this message. Love you all, and we'll be back next week. See you.